Hello students, today I am going to discuss about the temporal bone. We know temporal bones are a pair of irregular pneumatic type of bone situated along the sides of the skull and intervene in between the sphenoid bone in front and occipital bone behind. Now let's see how to hold this bone in anatomical position and how will you determine the side. Here you see this is the squamous part of the temporal bone. It is directed upward. This is the mastoid process is directed downwards. And this is the petrous part of the temporal bone. Apex of the petrous part of the temporal bone. It is directed forwards and medially. And this is the zygomatic arch. It is directed forward direction. And external acoustic meatus is there. It will indicate the side to which it belongs. That means this bone belongs to the left side. Now how to hold this bone in anatomical position? This is the anatomical position of this bone. That means squamous part of this bone is directed above, mastoid process directed downwards, and tip of the petrous part of temporal bone is directed forwards and medially. So this is the anatomical position of this bone. Now coming to the bony features in detail. This bone, it presents four parts. These four parts are, this is the squamous part of temporal bone. This petrous part and the mastoid part all together is known as the petromastoid part is the second part. Third part is the tympanic plate and fourth part is the styloid process. So these four parts are present: squamous part, then petromastoid part, then tympanic plate, and then the styloid process. Out of these four parts, the squamous part and the tympanic plate, it is ossified in membrane. Rest part of this temporal bone, it is ossified in cartilage. Today I am going to discuss about this squamous part and the tympanic plate. Rest part will be discussed in your next class. Coming to the squamous part. Squamous part, it is a thin plate of bone and it presents two borders, two surfaces. Two borders are the superior border and this is the anterior inferior border. Two surfaces are the external surface, this is the internal surface. Coming to the superior border, here you see this border, it is a beveled border which articulates. So this is the superior border. It articulates with the middle third of the lower border of the corresponding parietal bone. So this is the parietal bone. And anterior inferior border, it articulates with the squamosal border of the greater wing of the sphenoid. Now we have seen these two borders, anterior inferior border and the superior border. Coming to the external surface. External surface, it is smooth and convex in nature and it forms the part of this temporal fossa. Now let's see which one is the temporal fossa. This is the temporal fossa. Above it is bounded by this temporal line and below it is bounded by the zygomatic arch. And temporal fossa posteriorly, it is limited by a ridge. That ridge is known as the supramastoid crest. So this is the supramastoid crest. And this supramastoid crest, it gives the attachment of the temporal fascia. Now this temporal surface of this temporal fossa, it gives the origin to the temporalis muscle. And this squamous part at the center part is affected by a groove. That groove is occupied by one artery, that is the middle temporal artery. Here we have seen the supramastoid crest. Now below and parallel to this supramastoid crest, that means 1.5 centimeter below the supramastoid crest, here we'll get one minute sutural line. This suture is known as the squamomastoid suture. This squamomastoid suture, this suture, it will indicate the junction between the squamous part and the mastoid part of the temporal bone. Coming to the lower part of this or anterior part of this squamous part of the temporal bone, here it forms the upper and the part of the posterior wall of the external acoustic meatus. So this is the external acoustic meatus Now above and behind this external acoustic meatus, that means in this area we'll get one triangular area. This triangle is known as the suprameatal triangle. What is the importance of this triangle? Deep to this triangle we'll get the antrum, mastoid antrum. In case of adult, this mastoid antrum is situated 12 to 15 millimeter deep to this suprameatal triangle. But in newborn, this antrum is situated 2 millimeter below this suprameatal triangle. And this depth increases 1 millimeter per year till it attains the adult thickness. Coming to the another bony features of the squamous part of the temporal bone, that is the zygomatic process. So this is the zygomatic process. It presents two parts, posterior part and the anterior part. This posterior part, it is triangular in shape, which has got one superior surface and inferior surface. Superior surface concave in nature, here lodges the temporalis, tendon of the temporalis muscle. Now inferior surface, it forms a part of the articular surface of the mandibular fossa, and it is bounded anteriorly by this anterior root, posteriorly by this posterior root. These both roots meet to each other to form one tubercle, that is known as the tubercle of the zygoma. From this tubercle of the zygoma, this zygomatic arch, it changes its direction and it will go in forward direction. Now coming to the posterior root. Posterior root, it presents one upper border. This upper border posteriorly, it is continuous with the supramastoid crest and anteriorly with the upper border of the zygomatic arch. Coming to the anterior root, it forms the articular pillar or the articular tubercle, and it gives the attachment of the articular disc which intervene in between the, here you see, this is the head of the mandible and the articular part of mandibular fossa. Here we'll get this, in between these two articular surface we'll get the articular disc of the temporomandibular joint. Now coming to this anterior part of this zygomatic arch. This anterior part of the zygomatic arch, it consists of external surface, internal surface, upper border and this lower border. Upper border, it gives the attachment of the temporal fossa outside that gallia aponeurotica. Now lower border, it gives the origin to the masseter muscles, and anterior end, it articulates with the this arch presents on the zygomatic bone to complete the zygomatic arch. So this is the zygomatic arch. Now coming to the internal surface. Now in the internal surface of this squamous part of the temporal bone, here it is marked by some impressions due to the presence of this gyri present on the temporal lobe of the cerebral bone, cerebral hemisphere, and here it is marked by one groove. That groove is occupied by the branches of middle meningeal artery.